In previous video, we saw that we can have a kind of manual selection for having high availability, or which outbound, if we have many or more than one, which one we can select. This is a kind of tedious. Even we can control it with the API, dynamically change the outbound or the default route if we want. But we have a better solution, as we talked about it in talking about the proxies and load balancing. We have also automatic selection. If we go back to the outbound, one of them is URL test. And URL test means this is the structure. It's called, I mean, it could be like auto or auto selection or whatever it is. It doesn't matter, but the behavior is what we want. It's going to automatically select one of the proxies according to the calculation of a test, a URL that's going to somehow the sandbox test the response time of this URL. For example, if we provide http google.com, it's going to request through the proxy to this endpoint and saves the time in a table, and then when request is going to be done, or the request for these three proxies, then sandbox is going to calculate which one has the least response time, and that one becomes the default route for us. And that's the whole point. Let's copy that. Going to the default one we have, so we remove that, actually remove that, and then pasting this one and comma. We don't change the name, it's just URL, and because this is the first one, by default is going to be selected. This becomes the default one. So remove one of them because you just have two, and then HY21, HY22. By the way, we can have more, like direct. As long as we have the output direct, we can select direct as one of the outbound. Okay, I keep it here just to know that it is possible. As many output we have here, we can add all of these. So URL, for example, let's go back to that. It doesn't say, but usually people use this one. We will be talking about our own custom domain for much more accurate one, because depending on the location that the proxy we have, probably they are much more far away from this endpoint, but they are closer to the user, but it's going to be somehow miscalculated for the result because this is much far away from that point that we are going to connect to. So again, through the proxy is going to check, not directly. So let's copy the URL. Going back, this is the URL. We want to test for the response time. Interval, for example, every 30, not 30, usually it's the default one says it's 3-minute interval. Also, the tolerance is 50 milliseconds. We will be talking about it. And idle timeout is 30. Interrupt existing connection, we already talked about it. When the selection is going to change, interrupt the old connection or no. We keep it 30, for example, seconds. Tolerance again 50, or we can remove it. 50, and then these are the thing that we have. So let's run the server 1, let's run the server 2. Crawl IP.me, this is my own IP address. Oh, internet is slow. Nothing else we have. You can see there's no route, just we have the direct, we have HY22, we have HY21, and then the automatic routing. Just notice when I'm going to the very first one, when I'm going to run that, so it's automatic. It tries to connect to both servers at the same time in order to get the time and save in a timetable to select which one is the first one, which one is the fastest one based on the least response time. Providing my credentials, you can see one of these is the 563 and the other one is 600, and so which one should be selected? this one should be selected, which is number one, which is this one. Okay, so let's test that. 2080. This one becomes the first one because it is the fastest one between these two. So we are going to wait a little bit. Sandbox automatically should send requests to both of these servers again. We should be waiting for the check. 30 seconds it was. Waiting. You can see, yeah, again, direct is this one, the HY2 one is faster, this one is probably the slowest one, so again this is selecting this one. So that's the reason, and we can't do anything. I mean, there's no other algorithm. It's the default one, and the only algorithm, least response time, is going to be selected for the selection. And if for any reason this goes down, automatically, because it's not available, the sandbox is going to choose the second one for the default one. Let's make this one down. So the first one, which was the default one, is down and we can't somehow access it. So 30 seconds we have to wait for sandbox to mark the first server as a down, and then select this one for the availability that this one is available. You can see available HY2. If we request which one is fastest one, 32, so we should see HY2. You can see the request comes to HY2. So one of the concept in this, let me make this available again to see what sandbox is going to do. Is going to somehow select this one again? Probably yes. The time HY21 is 552. We don't have the other one time. Let's check that. We are still back to the second one, and that's the point that if sandbox is allowed to interrupt the connection or no. Probably I'm not connecting to this, but the connection has been closed by sandbox can somehow switch. Let's wait a little bit. Both of them are available, direct and HY2, and sandbox doesn't know about the first one. What's the reason? Actually, we should be back to the first one. And the reason I can think about is the tolerance one. Also, we will test the tolerance because it's 50 milliseconds, and the difference between the first one and the second one is not 50 milliseconds. That's the reason it doesn't switch that. So switched. Why? Because 300 is really less, more than 50 millisecond is lower than this one, which is near 500. And the time has changed for request. I mean, in 30 seconds, the request to both of them is not going to be done, and just selects this one, and after a while selects this one. I mean, switches, test this one. The test for both of them are not done at the same time, and I did it right now for the direct one. You can see it's 500, 700. This one is 580, but didn't test the first one. You can lower the tolerance. Let's lower the tolerance to 0.1, which means switch. Anyone was the let's make it 1, because sometimes, I mean, I'm not sure about this. Documentation is too minimal. 0 means unlimited, but they keep it to 1 and say true. Switch. Anyone was let me close and restart, and clear this. Which one was the fastest one should be selected? So we have direct, we have the HY2, and we have the HY1. It should go to HY1, so it goes to 1. Waiting for the check. because of the time lapsed for each one is 30 seconds, and they have been checked together. Again, the time check is for both of them, for all three are at the same time, the direct, the HY2 and HY1. Actually, we could lower the check to like 10 seconds. You can see, for example, again, it's unreachable, the network for the it tries to IP version 6. That's the problem, that we have to disable that. Actually, we don't have IP version 6. That's the server side. So let's check this to set this to 10 seconds and see the result. So HY2 and direct, and why is it this one is not available? Oh, it tries to connect through the IP version 6. We do not have IP version 6. That's the reason. So it's the first one is going to be selected. Let's make this one down. Again, this one says unavailable. Direct is available. That one seems unreachable to singbox. So if we request, we should see our real IP address. So that's the reason we see our real IP address, because this one seems unavailable. It's going to resolve it with IP version 6. So that's the reason. And these were the whole point for the high availability automatic routing, that the fastest one or the least response time is going to be selected by singbox. Thank you for watching. Let's go to next video. Also, we are available on Telegram, TonTab channel, and the GitHub repository TonTab. You can see all these configuration there, and there's no need to pause the video and copy them. Any question you had, any kind of thoughts, share it on our Telegram channel, Linux Networking and Security, on YouTube or on GitHub. Let's go to next video.